Hey, this is Tim from Jeep Tubes, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Hey guys, this is Danny from Ironman4x45.com, also known as Ironman Andy, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Well, good evening, boys and girls. It's the XJ Talk Show pre-show. We'll be getting going here in just a few minutes. Josh and I are putting the finishing touches on the show. Thank you for joining us live tonight. If you are listening to or I should say watching the recorded version of YouTube, thank you for visiting our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe. You can actually get notifications of when our shows are going to be on. That's of course, it's every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central. But how much better is it to actually get a little notification on your phone or email or whatever the hell YouTube does whenever you schedule that reminder? That way you don't miss the fun live and have the ability to make comments with other people watching the show. Which I don't know about you, but I always enjoy that in a YouTube event. It's always fun to interact with other folks. And, of course, you can interact with other folks on xjtalk.com. It is a website that has been around for about 5 years that is geared towards the Jeep Cherokees, but we also have sections on there for Wranglers and Grand Cherokees and even the often maligned on this show, 2014 Jeep Cherokee. And, Josh, I don't know if I'll talk about this on the show or not, but I'll talk about it on the pre-show. I had a bit of a chuckle today. I was getting off of Interstate 10 and coming up to a intersection, and it varies with how far the traffic gets backed up for the left-hand turn. And people don't always pay attention. It gets backed up really far. I mean, like 2 lights worth, maybe 3 lights worth, because there's a lot of people turning to the left and not to the right. Well, there was a 2014 Cherokee involved in a fender bender today because apparently somebody wasn't paying attention that the line was stopped.
Just plowed right in the back of another vehicle, I'm guessing.
I couldn't see any damage on the 2014 Cherokee. It probably was one of those little third bumps, like a bump. And because there was contact, you really shouldn't leave the scene and so on and so forth. So I can laugh because I'm almost certainly sure that nobody was actually hurt other than maybe a little paint removal on the often maligned on this show, 2014 Jeep Cherokee.
See, I was hoping you were going to say, airbags deployed, whole front end crumpled, and no damage to the other vehicle.
Well, I like that, but I don't like the idea that somebody, and my worst fear is somebody's kid got hurt,
Yeah, I know.
So if you take all reason and stuff out of it, then it blowed up real good.
Like the joke about the old Pinto, you just barely touch it in the rear end and it just blows up and explodes.
Oh, gee, what was that joke? It was a real popular one back at that time. It was because it was like 3 things that were in the news at the time. It was exploding Pintos, toxic shock syndrome, and yeast infection or something like that. It was there was a joke that had those 3 elements in it.
There's a combination for you. Wow.
Something like the definition of a loser blonde or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, wow. All right, now we're going to start pissing people off.
Oh, well, that's what we're here to do.
Well, I'm all dialed in on the notes on the show notes in there. And got something to talk to you about in regards to kind of our conversation after the show last night.
Secrets to the audience.
Oh, yeah, I know some inside baseball. I've actually spent some time in the studio. I got off at work a little bit early today. Managed to beat some traffic.
Yeah, I saw the picture on Facebook. You were not doing anything at work.
Yeah, no, and a little. You guys got to head over to the XJ Talk Facebook and see what I do when I'm bored at work. But No, I pretty much checked out. I'm taking Friday through Tuesday off, and today I just there were no F's given today.
Yeah.
I sat at my desk and twiddled my thumbs and did my best to meander through the couple projects that I had to do and get out on time. And I did that and managed to get out of work about 15, 20 minutes early, which made a world of difference in my commute, actually. And got home in record time. And doinked around here for a minute and then figured, all right, well, I got some stuff to do in the studio. So I came in here and, geez, I've been in here for, well, about 4 hours now. Almost. Well, yeah, about 4 hours. About 3.5 hours or so. I got some work done, Tony. I got something to share with you later on.
Oh, great. That's great. And you saw the email that came back?
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, logging in that. Talk about that show.
Oh, I better check my Skype setting, because you were fine until just a second ago and you started chopping. You're chopping. Hang on, let me set this. Everybody disco.
Whoa, what happened there?
I don't know. What happened? What'd you hear? What'd you see?
Oh, no, that's mine. That's mine.
This damn thing keeps putting it back.
My laptop got jiggled loose a little bit.
This thing keeps putting the microphone back to high. It is not set for automatically adjust. I have not restarted Skype. I wonder if it does that every time we initiate a call. God, that's really sucky. Like I said, I do not have it set on automatically adjust. And I'm clicking save. What the hell more am I supposed to do? I guess I got to check it every damn time. Thanks, Skype.
Thanks, Skype.
Skype will kill you.
You know, I almost can't wait for another recall just so I can use that line again.
It's a little strange, but it grows on you.
Yeah.
It will kill. In other words, boys and girls, it will kill you. You know, I saw a thing on Tumblr the other day where somebody had put, I guess you'd call it mood lighting, but basically what they were doing was lighting underneath the bed. No monsters go here, because there's all this light coming out from underneath the bed. Which is probably a great thing for a kid, you know. Although you may go, as a kid, you might go, I don't want a light under there. I don't want to see it. It's bad enough hearing it.
Right?
I remember I was going to ask you, where is the, or do you have already done the, or copied from one you've already done, the intro?
The intro should be in there. Let me double check.
No, I'll check. I just wanted to just verify before I go over there and start looking. Nothing's more disappointing than to look and not find an intro.
Yeah, it's in there.
I didn't update the show notes because I've been messing with sound noise abatement. I've been putting little foam things here and there. We have a Wrangler tech segment, or a Wrangler segment tonight from Steve about lifting a YJ.
Yeah, I saw that come in a Dropbox, and so I didn't put it in the show notes because I didn't know if you had edited it yet.
Yeah.
And there was something in there left over from episode 142 that I don't know that we ever got to. And so I threw it in there, and that's the hurricane safety tips.
Yeah, I actually have that pulled that up on a tab here in Firefox, and I'll jump over there and try to move through that. I think it's a good thing, even though I firmly believe the U.S. has a anti-weather device, because these hurricanes develop, and instead of coming into the Gulf or hitting Florida, they turn and go up to the north, not even touching any of the U.S. land. What's the deal with that? So I think they're testing it, and they're not going to announce it until they're very clear that it's not that it's actually working. Because could you imagine? Yeah, we steered a hurricane and we miscalculated, and it took out Portland.
The entire eastern seaboard.
No, the western seaboard. That's where you really screw up. Goes down the U.S. goes down the canal, the Panama Canal, not losing any strength, and then coming back up the west. You know, this is something really squirrely. All right, let's see here. Segment openers. Nope. I never can remember what it's called. Openers. There we go. Finished for the show. We should go with Swedish sometime. Swedish for the show. Everybody likes Swedes. Swedes. Little Tom rap music. little ditty that he calls "What a Jeep."
Would you happen to know the time on Steve's lifting a YJ Jeep Garage segment for tonight?
Yeah, it's I didn't put it over there. It is 9:25.
Oh, it's not too bad.
We have 4 voicemails, and we have a Josh's Subconscious.
Woo-hoo!
And the first email is the first V-mail is Nikki G. It's 1 minute 15 seconds. Then Jim, let me know if I'm going too fast.
Yep, no, you're good.
And then Jim Brazcats, 1 minute 25 seconds.
Okay.
A second Nikki G at 36 seconds. And finishing up with a Brazcats at 19 seconds. And then the Josh's Subconscious is 23 seconds.
All right, and I'm going to make that look pretty.
So we have a Wrangler segment, all things Wrangler, I guess we're going with, and like I said, it's 9:25, and I'm not doing a Jeep tips in there as well. I think just the Wrangler segment and a little chit chat probably round us out.
Okay.
Unless you want me to quickly edit one for the it's already 10, so 10 my time, so I think we better go with what we got.
Yeah, and had I not been working on that other project, I would have split that one thing I shared with you. I would have split that up into 3 segments like we had talked about, and added that into the show. I thought about it, but I was like, oh no, I got to do this other thing, and went with that instead.
Yeah, no worries. So you guys probably have seen the number crawling across the screen. If you would like to call in, we're probably going to get going here in not very much longer, but if you want to call in real fast and get on the pre-show, please go right ahead and call in. I am getting some really tinny noise. I'm afraid that all this attempts of muffling this sound is not working out. I guess we'll just have to go with it. It's my new PC. One of the big fans is kind of making a. It's really very. You wouldn't notice it unless you're recording something like this and you got headphones on and you can kind of hear it coming in with your voice. Mm-hmm. So I probably need to build me a little something that will totally shield that thing from the microphone. Or, well, I wonder. Let's see. Testing 1 2 3. Well, I could just have this foam up next to my microphone while I'm talking. That seems to take care of it. Just put it on my shoulder.
Yeah, I did that too for a while. I had one of these.
Yeah.
And I had it, pretty much right behind my microphone, which actually does help with a little bit of, backside standing waves. I don't know if it really knocks down, if it really changes things all that much. I imagine with your microphone, probably not because of the pickup pattern.
Let's see. Hello, test. I'm not really hearing it so much right now. It may be because the music. Anywho,
music masks some of that. Sure.
Anywho, I'm going to turn my.
Real quick, do we have any reviews?
No, we do not. I'm going to turn my bright ass hot light on, and I'll be right back. Actually, I'm going to turn the air conditioner down a little bit too.
All right.
Oh, and what I was saying, guys, if you call in, the call-in number's going across the bottom of the screen. Everything should be hot, so if you want to call in and start talking, you'll be able to talk to Josh until I get back, and you can talk to both of us. had a quick conversation, little chat conversation with F and Audrey today. She was wanting to get my permission to use a little promo type thing on some magazine that she's putting out, and I don't know the full details on the magazine, but she just wanted to make sure that it was okay for her to use talk about the XJ Talk Show. It's a good thing. You should listen to it type of stuff. And I said, hey, that's your opinion. You don't need my permission to put that on there. Yeah. Really nice of you to think of us. And I said, by the way, we hadn't heard from you in a long time. Why don't you call in? And she said she wanted to do another interview.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Which I didn't think about it at the time, but she might want to talk about the magazine. Jeep related, of course, is the magazine.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah. So reaching out to some of those that we've had on the show in the past. And you guys, we always say you should be involved in the show. We mean it. It's fun for us. We don't care if it's fun for you. It's fun for us. Let's see. Let me get the show notes in front of me. Make sure there's no questions or gotchas.
Yeah, I'll just go one last skim through here, and if there's anything I'm missing, I need to turn that down a little bit. There we go.
I see that you got the updated number for our YouTube subscribers. I was going to go in there and plug that information in, and saw that you had already done it. Oh yeah, I think we'll be fine now that I think about that hurricane safety tips deal. We could talk about that a bit. Do you guys ever get cyclones over there? They don't call them hurricanes on your side, right?
No, we get an occasion. I mean, I think what was about I'm gonna say about 10 years ago, we had like an F1.5 tornado touch down right on top of my storage unit in Vancouver, Washington, and that was fun.
Damn Canadians.
But no, we get some really high wind, especially where I'm at right now, where my house is. We're on the edge of the gorge, and we get a lot of high wind that comes rushing down through the gorge. So we'll have sustained winds at 60 miles per hour, and that's normal, especially during winter and storm season.
Sure.
But no, we really don't get tornadoes or hurricanes or twisters or cyclones or any of that fun stuff. So I don't know. It's just the way that the world spins, and probably the temperature has a lot to do with it too. I'm too far north, and it stays pretty mild here year round.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you last night, but we ran so long talking about all kinds of things on the last week's promo. I hope you weren't too offended at the he doesn't Jeep wave either.
No, I got a kick out of that, especially at the end. I did a quick comment on it with the woohoo, woohoo, the triple woohoo at the end. So no, I'm a good sport.
I figured
it takes a lot to offend me. So
yeah, I figured you were fine with it, but I wanted to double check because it was it's funny when I was putting that whole thing together. It's like I think I said 2 words in the whole thing. 2 was one of them.
And I did a little self-deprecation. I think I opened with that, and I'm the guy who doesn't Jeep, who doesn't wave.
Maybe that's where I got the idea. Yeah, that's right.
A little seed in your subconscious.
That's right. I do remember you saying that, but you didn't say Jeep wave. You just said I'm the guy that doesn't wave. Yeah.
I just said didn't wave. So,
but you were looking like you were looking far away, and I don't care about this. And
zoned out. I was focused on saying hey to the people in the comment section over on our YouTube channel, and I was just I was zoned in and typing and stuff like that, and yeah, just the cameras are live and I'm nowhere near the show. Good times.
Get your head in the game, man.
Oh, I know.
Let's check this level here real quick. I'm gonna try to bump it up a little bit. Give me a little chatter.
All right, it's chattering, and hopefully we're gonna not have any technical issues. Hopefully the cameras stay on and the audio stays good, and if I get a little excited and pop the limiter a little bit, I think I'm well within my range of where the little lights are blinking and should be.
So let's see. I'm going to change I always have to, I have a mild panic when I'm doing I'm talking and then I press the button to play the This Week in Jeep intro. So I'm going to change the color of that button. I always seem to hit it, but.
Nervously.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There. I think that's it. Click. Oh, that was it. Oh, change camera angle. Oh, real quick. We may have to play with this. That's what she said.
I was waiting for it.
We may have to play with this, but the Ustream, a YouTube live stream, allows you to have multiple cameras. And I was poking around at it a little bit tonight. Each camera is a separate stream. Now, I don't know how that manifests itself in the video, but we might actually be able to have people on the show. You know, kind of like the Google, what is it? The Google, not Voice.
Sure. Google Hangouts, right?
You know how that thing, it may switch with the audio. But anyway, we'll have to try it. And what we could do is you can download something called the Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder version 3.2. And you run that, and it will encode your video and audio into a stream and send it to YouTube.
So this Minicam software that I have, the latest update, which happened just a week or so ago, gives me the ability to stream directly to a YouTube live event.
Yeah, there you go. So we might actually want to play with that and just see what it looks like. It wouldn't go through my my video editing software that I have here, or video mixing software.
True.
But
so we'd lose the background and stuff like that if we tried to do it like that way.
But it might be a cool thing for if there's good coverage out in the wilderness someplace, or some way to do a live feed. It might be cool to actually do the live feed from a remote location, or from somebody we're interviewing. But we'll just have to see how it manifests itself on the YouTube stream to get a better idea how we can make it work. Anyway, let's get the show going. We got people waiting.
Let's do it.
What am I doing? I need to start. Well, I can actually read the show notes and see what I'm supposed to do. Disclaimer. All right, that one's ready. I think I played that one last time, so we'll go with this one. The music. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yep, and let me just do the math here real quick. 2:46, so 2 minutes and 16 seconds in. All right, so let's turn the audio recorder on. All right, getting ready to go.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
Damn it. I always forget about that thing. Should take it off there. You know, I had to press the start button on the recorder, the audio recorder, 3 times.
Oh, sticky button.
No, it's just a timing thing. The little thing flashes, and I have to wait and make sure the seconds start ticking off. Okay, stop talking.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
XJ Talk Show is on the air. Okay, it's a podcast. Oh, you know what I mean. Anyway, here's Tony and Josh.
Yes, it is Tony, and that is Josh, and we're having a little bit of fun. I was going to say, wave, you bastard, but he was waving, and he just kept waving, so that's why he got the camera all to himself, and while we were giggling. If you weren't here for the pre-show, you don't really get the joke, but in our last week's promo, Josh, I used the part of the show where Josh didn't wave at the camera at the start, and I had posted up there or put on the screen while he was just looking away, looking far and away, not paying any attention to the show. He doesn't Jeep wave either. So if you didn't catch that promo, please have a look, because I spent like 2 hours on it. So anyway, this is episode 144, and as I said, I'm Tony. You know me as Mutteroy on xjtalk.com, and here's my co-host that's already trying to talk. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, you guys know me as Josh, NW99XJ, or Northwest 99XJ over at xjtalk.com. I'm glad you guys have joined us. And this is the kind of stuff you guys have got to join in on the live show for. The pre-show, the mayhem, and all the fun and stuff like that. And, of course, the inside jokes.
That's what she said. No, that doesn't really fit, does it? Oh, she said that, though. Anyway, so what do we got for the kids tonight, Josh?
Oh, we got all kinds of good stuff for you guys. We're going to do some This Week in Jeep, of course. Got a couple good stories for you as well there. We're going to have Steve join us later on for a little bit of Jeep Garage and talk about what we can do with some YJs. Got some YouTube love to share with you guys, some voicemails. We're going to talk about some hurricane safety. Geez, I got some stuff to share with you about my own Jeep, and more and more and more. So guys, stick around. We've got a jam-packed show for you, and hopefully we'll be able to get to it all.
Hey, this is the XJ Talk Show, a podcast about Jeep Cherokees off-roading and the tech you need to get you there and back. We're here to promote the web's most premier website for all that is Jeep Cherokee, the xjtalk.com, not show, but the website. The friendliest and most helpful Jeep site on the web. xjtalk.com encourages and answers all the questions and concerns the first-time XJ owners typically have without any flaming or criticism, while giving you the best, most in-depth articles and write-ups for the repairs and modifications that take your average XJ to the next level. Now get ready. It's the XJ Talk Show, and it starts right now.
First Week in Jeep.
So as I reported earlier this month, Jeep is going to be moving to India. Well, not necessarily moving, not as in packing up and leaving, but they're going to be offered in India for the first time ever, from what I understand. And I reported last, episode 142, I think, is I don't know why the Renegade is not going to be offered there. They've opted to not offer the Renegade in their release over in India. And I don't know why anybody would really care here in the U.S., but the Renegade is not going to be a part of that initial launch.
Well, they're Indians. Maybe they're afraid they would be hurt. Their feelings would be hurt if they called it the Renegade.
Well, I'd be very curious to see if they actually end up renaming it, because the Renegade is supposed to be a global launch and is supposed to help Jeep dominate the world as far as automotive sales goes. So be very curious to see if they end up rebadging it or calling it something else. Who knows? Anyways, that initial launch will not include the Renegade. And this news is coming straight from Mike Manley, the automaker's head of international operations and head of the Jeep brand. Allegedly, Jeep made the decision to postpone the Renegade launch in India because of currency fluctuations and because the company wasn't ready. I don't know exactly what that means, but I personally would think that the Jeep Renegade would be one of Jeep's best sellers in India. It's the cheapest and smallest Jeep in the lineup, after all, which I would assume is perfect for the average Indian consumer, especially in a fluctuating, volatile market. Why, when the worth and availability of currency is in question, would the Indian consumer fork out twice the amount of money for some other Jeep? India will instead receive the Grand Cherokee, which we all know has a hefty price tag, and of course the Wrangler as its first vehicles from Jeep. The eventual goal of Jeep is to begin producing Jeeps in India. Mike Manley earlier this week said, if you're going to be successful with Jeep in India, you are going to have to localize vehicle production in India. Jeep does have extra production capacity in a factory nearby Pune. That could be an option as well for them. India will receive the Renegade eventually, but there's no say as to the time frame on that. Until then, to satisfy upcoming demand and to keep prices down, Jeep is going to have to find a way to push more Jeeps out of Pune. JP Magazine wants you guys. Have you ever wondered how you could get featured in JP Magazine? And by the way, if you don't know what JP Magazine is, then you need to crawl out from that rock you've been living under for the last 18 years. For those of you who don't know about JP Magazine, let me break it down to you. JP Magazine is essentially a do-it-yourself manual for any Jeep owner looking to restore, maintain, or modify their Jeep, and each issue contains articles on products, how-tos, upgrades, performance tests, product shootouts, and more. Events are also covered in the magazine, from trail rides in the USA to international competitions and off-road events around the nation. Also featured are stories on Jeep history, news, and concept vehicles. The magazine covers Jeep trends and trends in the aftermarket industry as well. It's basically the most awesome Jeep publication ever printed, and you need to have a subscription. Well, getting into the world's #1 Jeep-focused magazine might be easier than you think. There's really just 3 things you need to take into consideration: chicks, oops, and age. Jeep chicks are, well, let's face it, pretty hot. And a little skin and a little bit of Jeep will go a long way if the picture taken has the right stuff. So that's easy enough, but what else? Did you roll? Did you get stuck? Is your Jeep 4 legs to heaven? Is it 4 feet deep in mud, buried in the snow? If your Jeep had a gnarly or questionable moment, or maybe just a momentary lapse in judgment of the driver, they want to see the evidence. They want the story about what happened and how you made it unhappen as well. And finally, JP Magazine loves the nostalgia. Photos from back in the day is what this is all about. For example, maybe you had a family member serving in the military and have a neat photo of that person with a Jeep. Maybe your family road trip vacation when you were young took place in a Jeep, and you have the photo to prove it. They're essentially looking for vintage, but not a vintage Jeep doing its thing today. Nope. They want old-timey. The older, the better. Don't worry if the photo is grainy and black and white. That reeks of vintage, and JP Magazine loves to eat up the funky stuff. So that's it. Hot chicks, upside-down Jeeps, and some old crusty photos from back in the day. That's all it's going to take to get you into JP Magazine. If you got all 3, even better. Just make sure you give them all the pertinent info and the who's and the where's, and especially the what's, your make and model, and date and location the picture was taken. Email your submissions to jpeditor@jpmagazine.com with the subject line Sideways. And make sure you tell them that the XJ Talk Show sent you. Hey, big thanks to John, Pre-Runner 1982, for submitting our first story for this week in Jeep. If you would like to submit a story to be aired on This Week in Jeep, or you have a response to any one of our stories, please send an email to newstips@xjtalkshow.com.
Okay, so how many of you guys, raise your hand, how many of you guys got my bad joke when I was talking about the Renegade and the Indians? It's the wrong kind of Indians, Josh.
No, I know. Yeah.
Ooh, not the, thank you very much. Coming in. Try the beef jerky. It's very good. Yeah. And the other thing is, I noticed from your news here, Pune, right? That's the name of the town.
It's spelled Pune, so maybe it's Pune. I don't know.
Is that in India?
And of course, I there was a very, very bad attempt at a very horrible off-color joke in there as well. So yeah,
is that in that's in India, right?
Somewhere nearby.
Okay.
Is all.
Well,
I think I passed geography with like a D+. So yeah.
Anyway, so it reminded me, because I don't know, I don't think you were you watched the moon launches back when they were doing them, but Tang was a big thing back then, and that town, they really loved that Poontang. It was just really, really good.
Hey, who doesn't? Right? Am I right?
And that's my attempt at a really bad off-color joke.
Yours probably made a little more sense than mine. So, yeah.
So I apologize profusely, but I had to get it out. It wasn't going to sit there. It was going to fester, and then I was at 3:00 in the morning. I was going to yell it out and wake everybody up.
And your wife's like, "No, not now."
Anywho, now I'm supposed to do something. Oh, here it is.
xjtalk.com is where you go when you're not off-road. And now you can go to xjtalk.com when you're off-road too. Using your smartphone, install the Tapa Talk app, then search for XJ Talk. Take XJ Talk with you wherever you go. Jury duty, dinner with your spouse's parents, even, well, anywhere you need your XJ Talk fix.
This is Dan from the 4x4 podcast, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
The XJ Talk Show is now available on iTunes. Subscribe and leave a review. Also, be sure to give us a 5-star rating.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or your MP3 player. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/XJTalkShow.
The YouTube love.
Guys, we do have some love to share with you all as you have been doing a very good job of subscribing to our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are telling a friend and getting them to do the same. We pick 4 out of the list in no particular order and, well, give them a little bit of homage every week. First on the list this week, who do we got, Tony?
That is Eric Matzunzan.
Matuzan, sure. Anyways, we got Mud Raider on there as well.
Tennis Golf.
And the Jeep Lover 88.
Well, you can't go wrong with any of those words, actually. Jeep Lover 69 would have been better, but 88's fine. I don't guess they actually made a Cherokee in 69, did they?
I don't think so. Jeeps were being made back then, so...
well, there was Jeeps in 69, just not Cherokees.
Sure was. Anyways, guys, make sure you keep up the subscriptions, tell a friend, and we'll see you over on our YouTube channel.
Well, man, we're already to voicemails. Gee whiz. That's this thing is moving along kind of fast, isn't it, Josh?
Well, we are moving right through. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, and well, I've got some stuff to share with you guys about my Jeep. And when I start talking about my own Jeep, I get a little long-winded. So yeah, we're moving through this stuff, so I get more time to talk.
And you only recently realized you were long-winded when I told you numerous times. So here we go with the voicemails. I'm going to cut you right off. No more talking, Josh.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and just wanted to talk about Obama came and visited our fair city today, as many people who watch news might have seen. He gave a good speech about VA hospitals, and it was a good speech, and it'd be great if he holds true on his promises, but only time will tell. But my beef with that is they had Boyer Street closed off today. As I'm driving into work, I couldn't make my left-hand turn into my beloved Taco Bell. I had to continue on down the road, hop the curb, drive through an empty lot, and enter the parking lot that way. So good thing I had my Jeep. They give cell phones to the welfare recipients, but they deny me access to a beef and bean burrito. What kind of country is this? I'll tell you what. All right, guys. You have a good one, and I'll chat you later.
I'm surprised Secret Service didn't tackle him to the ground, Jeep and all.
There he is. We know that guy. Get him.
Man, I'm going for my 24th Amendment Taco Bell.
You, the tinfoil hat, freeze.
Anyway, thanks for calling, Nikki G. Here we go with Jim. You know him as Brass Cats, one of our illustrious moderators on xjtalk.com.
Hey guys, this is Jim, or Brass Cats. I just thought it was hilarious that I ordered from Amazon some parts for my YJ that I have, and I ordered the hood latch kits and some replacement soft top snaps and all the other good stuff. And they finally came in today. However, the soft top snaps, they come in sets of 5 or individually. So I actually needed 6. So I ordered a single, and then I ordered a set of 5. So today I get them in, and there's only 2 in there, both individually packaged. Of course, I email Amazon because I'm missing 4 snaps, and they want me to return the individual snap to them. And they will send me the pack of 5, but they want to pay several dollars to ship back a $1 item, and it's going to be this one little tiny snap in this gigantic box. I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, talk to you later.
That's really strange. I've had that happen on occasion. Not that I've got the wrong order, but sometimes when something needs to go back because it has a problem, or I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. I usually get my orders exactly as I order them. But one of the things you can do, Jim, is just go on to Amazon chat, because there is no phone in Amazon. You can actually call and bitch at anybody at Amazon, which is probably good because it speeds things along, because you know how people can get really wordy like that or on a podcast. And it takes up a lot of time. So, but they do online chat. They're very helpful, and they can do anything up to and including signing your name over to ownership of Amazon. I mean, they basically can do anything, no matter where in the world they are. It's all about customer service. So get on chat, tell them, and say, do you really want me to send this thing back? I mean, it probably would be cheaper for you to send me 4 or 5 individual snaps than send this thing back to you so you can send me the right thing. You make a suggestion, and I think you'll be surprised. Also, too, to keep you from having to go down and ship the thing back. That's the problem I'd have with it, because they do pay to ship it back, but just they don't come to your house and take it down there to the shipping place, unfortunately.
Doesn't that kind of go with the old saying, like spending $1 to save a dime or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, they usually figure that stuff out on their own without having to say anything to them, but sometimes things fall through the cracks. So here's another Nikki G for us. Here we go.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and holy crap, I can't believe you guys played the whale song. You guys have really hit rock bottom.
Not yet.
But the only way it could possibly get any worse is if somebody sang 3 minutes of Chicken Song. It can only go uphill from here, guys. All right, catch you later. Bye.
And our final voicemail, he doesn't announce it, but this is also from Jim.
Hey guys, this is Nikki G.
I think the whale song was a big hit.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now we got voicemails making fun of voicemails. That is great. I love this.
We'll start a voicemail podcast where all we do is play voicemails. We won't even talk or show up. It'll just be voicemails.
Maybe occasional intro or something like that. Yeah, no, it's good stuff, guys. Keep it up.
We do need to come out with one of those little commercials. What was it? Nicktel presents the best of Nikki G. Yeah. maybe play a little flute in there for Kenny G. Anyway, here's a much missed and hasn't been on for a long time. Josh's subconscious. We can only figure that Josh has been so busy that his subconscious has not been active until recently. I guess it's that 5 days off you're taking, Josh.
Mm.
Yoo-hoo! Oh man, I've been so busy messing with my undercarriage. It's been so much fun. A lot of guys have been helping me with my undercarriage, and I've just enjoyed it so much. And Nikki G, wow, those whale songs, your sperm whale can play with my beluga any day. Toodaloo.
Hey, you had to see that one coming. That's what she said. All right, so I don't know why Anonymous doesn't do more of those, but You really should. They're hilarious.
I got to keep it together over here.
You know you're having a good laugh when you fart. That's you lose all bodily control.
And I think I might have peed a little.
All right, so taking a turn to the depressing, not really, but I saw a thing come up on Twitter the other day, and it was from the FCC, strangely enough. But I guess they're talking about communication, so maybe it's not so strange. Anyway, boys and girls, it's hurricane season, and if you're on the East Coast or the Gulf, along the Gulf of Mexico, the part of the land that borders the Gulf of Mexico, you probably watched the weather reports this time of year with anxious anticipation. And the FCC had some communication tips during emergency, and I thought we'd just go over and discuss them a little bit and make you guys aware of what you need to keep in mind. I think the most important thing is to understand the cell phone service, but we'll get into that. So basically what the FCC FEMA has to say here is, let me just move this over here. Know what type of landline telephone service you have. Some newer forms of telephone service will not work without electric power. Understanding whether you have this newer type of service, such as voice over IP, which is provided over broadband connections, or more traditional phone service, which typically is powered over copper telephone lines. What they're trying to say here is there's a thing called POTS, plain old telephone service. And that is just the copper wire that runs from a facility that is quite often powered by a bunch of batteries, a huge bank of batteries. And they charge these batteries constantly. And there's so many batteries that you can actually keep one of these substations running for a good 24 to 48 hours. And for calling 911 or calling up and chatting during the middle of a storm, it's great because you lose the power in your house. Your phone still works. If you've got one of these new voice over IP services, it's using your internet connection. So if your internet goes down, so does your phone service. That means no 911, none of that. And of course, we all know, and you iPhone users know very sorely, that the phone is powered by electricity, specifically a battery. And because I know you guys are always trying to recharge those things anywhere you go. So you don't have any juice, your battery runs out of power, you don't have any cell service, there's no communications. So things to keep in mind whenever there is bad weather, whether it's a hurricane or maybe just some of these storms that pop up during the summertime.
Yeah, that's the thing with especially cell phones. I mean, there might be some battery backup or some reserve power cell phone towers out there, but you got to think, folks, that a very large portion of the cellular network is going to go down, and the network is going to become extremely busy.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to look into alternative forms of communication if you need to communicate with loved ones, family members, friends, and more importantly, even emergency services. So, I mean, this a great segue into, another reason to seriously consider, especially if you're in a hurricane zone, as to getting your ham radio license, because, you can power a ham radio with a car battery, especially if you've got one installed in your vehicle, and you'd be able to communicate with others that way, get the stress out, and even get some emergency communications or instructions, either receiving or transmitting.
One of the wonderful things about amateur radio is that there's going to probably be some people involved in emergency communication. So even if you're not active in the communicating of high water conditions or people that are injured or whatever that, you can listen to it and you can hear where these things are going on and actually go there and help, or just know how your area is being affected, or maybe the area from you that the storm is moving towards. So it's a great information tool. And of course, you can always key up the mic and ask a question or make a report. So yeah, amateur radio is very good for these emergency communication situations because you're in control of the entire thing. You are in charge of the power that's getting to your radio. You're in charge of the antenna, and you're in charge of the radio. Everything is in your control. Whereas with a cell phone, you're at the mercy of $1 billion or multi-billion-dollar network infrastructure that has been designed just to let you chat and have some cornflakes while you're doing it. Which one of the things they mentioned here, which I thought was very important, keep in mind that whenever there is a storm, chances are good that the circuits are going to be very congested. So if you don't need to be on the phone, don't get on the phone, because you may be keeping people from getting the emergency help that they need. Try to stay off the phone with mom and talking to her for a long time because you're not trying to make her feel better about what's going on. And damn it, be
raining over here.
And damn it, be a good son and have her over at your house before the storm hits. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so just a couple of tips there, something to think about. We want all of our XJ Talk listeners to be safe and come back very often.
So, guys, we haven't been getting as many reviews as we normally would like from you listeners out there. We'd like to encourage you guys to please head over to Stitcher or iTunes and leave us a review, leave us a 5-star review, and please leave us a comment.
Yes, please. We really, really appreciate the comments, the many comments, because we do have a lot of iTunes reviews already. It's just it's nice to have something to read on the show, and it's always nice to hear kind words, and it's great to hear constructive criticism, because we'd like to make the show better always. And just like having Josh and other people help with the show, it improves the show because it's not just one person's vision, it's a multiple visions, and I think that appeals to more people.
Indeed. And we, of course, love to hear from you guys. And speaking about hearing things, there's this thing called audible.com, and it's a great place to go if you like to hear people read you a book. Now, if you're like me, you don't like to read. Heck, I pick up a book and it's going to take me 6 years to read it. I just get too sidetracked and too distracted, and, well, I can't freaking read anyway. So you need to head over to audible.com, actually audibletrial.com/xjtalkshow. You get a free audiobook from any one of their 150,000 titles to choose from across any imaginable topic. You get something for nothing, you get hooked up, and, well, you get entertained in the process. So audibletrial.com/xjtalkshow. Check it out.
Hey, Josh, what's going on? Boy, it sure is nice to be out here in the woods and the trees and the twigs and the ants and don't sit there.
That's an anthill. That's not a lawn chair. What's going on here?
Clever, crafty ants. They were tricking me.
Well, as you guys have heard from the last couple episodes, I've had some exhaust carnage recently, and I picked up a new exhaust. And actually, I was going to grab it before the show, and I completely forgot. I was going to bring it in here. And the reason why I still have it is because I didn't get a chance to install it. And I didn't get a chance to install it because, well, my Jeep doesn't start right now. I've been having a serious issue. I have the no bus on the odometer. The automatic shutdown circuit and has tripped, and of course that means no spark, no fuel pump, no nothing. Most of my dash doesn't work. Well, most of the instrument cluster doesn't work, except for the odometer that reads no bus after about a good 30 seconds of trying to start it. It will crank, it just won't fire. I've been racking my brain trying to troubleshoot this thing, and I've gone through most of the 5-volt sensor systems and been trying to troubleshoot this. And yes, I've replaced the crank sensor. Yes, I've checked every single fuse. Guys, I've got all the details about this, everything that I've tried, everything I've discovered, and some helpful advice from some other XJ Talk members over on my build thread over on xjtalk.com.
Did you hit really hard on the dash? Right above the cluster?
I did. I actually took the instrument cluster out. I cleaned the contacts, and that did help momentarily.
That's where it is then.
Well, yes and
it's a grounding issue.
Yeah, and I just found this out recently. There's a twisted pair of wires, which pretty much is the main bus, the main connection between the PCM, the powertrain control module, the brain basically. And the instrument cluster. And I'm wondering if I've got a break, a short, an oxidation, something in that. So this weekend, I'm going to be doing a lot of continuity testing. I'm going to be testing the plugs themselves of a lot of the 5-volt sensors. And the 5-volt systems I'm talking about are Things like your throttle position sensor, the crank position sensor, the camshaft position sensor, these sort of things. The O2 sensors are included in there, but the O2 sensors going out would not cause the PCM to trip the automatic shutdown circuit and not allow the Jeep to start. And of course, the whole no bus thing is something altogether different.
Well, wait a minute. I thought that the 97 Pluses didn't have the disable. I thought that was the prior to 97s.
No, they do. In fact, any 97 to 2001 Cherokee, you pop open the PDC, the Power Distribution Center. You've got there's usually like 4 big relays in the upper section closest to the firewall, and 2 of those are what I'm talking about here. One of them is the automatic shutdown relay, and the other one is the relay for the fuel pump circuit. So, and they are side by side.
So, what causes the automatic shutdown?
Well, there's a number of things that do it, and that's what I'm trying to track down right now is why the PCM is sending that signal to the automatic shutdown relay and not allowing it to kick over. Now, I've tried jumping that, like basically putting in a fused jumper to lie to that circuit to make it think that the automatic shutdown relay is closed and not open, or open and not closed. I can't remember right now off the top of my head which is normal. In any case, I did the same thing to the fuel pump circuit, and I got the fuel pump to turn on, but I still don't have any spark at this point. So that's why I'm going to be going through and doing continuity tests. I've already tested all of the sensors in the 5-volt system, and everything seems to be in normal operating parameters as far as, the testing procedures that are outlined in my factory service manual. And this usually entails using a digital voltmeter and testing across a couple leads, measuring the resistance, or measuring voltage at a certain time during the cycle, and everything is seeming to be good.
Yeah, let me ask you real quick. Maybe I missed this. When did this occur? What happened prior to this whole thing stopping to work?
The Jeep sat in the garage for 6 days. Literally, there was nothing. I had driven it the week prior. I had a gig that I had to DJ. I pulled it into the garage, had unloaded all my DJ gear, pulled it back out of the garage, and nosed it in, and there it sat since that prior Saturday. And so it's been 2 weeks now. And so the following Saturday, I go in to get in it, and I was going to drive it down to the exhaust shop, have them cut out my old muffler, have them weld in this new one, and it wouldn't start.
Well, see, that's where I was going. I thought you were going to say, well, I welded blah, blah, blah. And I went, you probably fried the PCM or, something it didn't like. Do you have anybody that, you've thought about swapping out the PCM, I guess.
I did swap out the PCM, and still no bus.
No bueno. Say no bueno instead of no bus.
Nope. So no bus, no bueno. So I even hooked up a code reader. I got OBD2 onboard diagnostic 2nd generation code reader.
And it laughed at you. Did you not see the no bus?
Well, in a way, yeah, because it wouldn't connect.
Yeah,
it would not connect to the PCM. So I do all this troubleshooting.
That is really strange, because if that's the case, because that's a connector way down low underneath the dash. And now you're away from, I don't know, maybe some reason it does route up through the cluster, but that no bus, quite often is a ground issue that you said you've already checked. But, wow, you got some serious issues there.
Yeah, I do. And it's like I said, the Jeep is dead in the water, and it's not moving right now. So thankfully this happened while the Jeep was in my own garage, and, not on the freeway or, God forbid, on the trail or something like that. So this has me very, very nervous.
Yeah.
Because here, if I do trace down, or let's say I get the Jeep to start, but I don't know what I did. Let's say I get the Jeep to start, but it's like, all I did was wrap on the dash or replace.
Where's it going to die the next time? When I'm 600 miles away.
Exactly. So, and then not having what I need to repair it or something like that. So, yeah, I'm very, very nervous about this. This is a very unsettling problem that I'm very desperate to fix at this point. So,
well, and understand too, so you can make sure that you have it fixed, that you're comfortable with the Jeep. Oh, let me remind you real quick, and all our listeners, while you're poking around in there, and I'm sure you're doing it, I'm really telling the listeners, make sure that you're careful about the airbag stuff. because you could definitely set off an airbag, and it may hit you in a way that you didn't want it to hit.
So, guys, and I'm just going to give you a very, very quick tip right now. If you run into an electrical issue and you decide to do your own troubleshooting, I highly recommend not using your average test light. And by what I mean by that is the test light that you go down to the auto store and buy that has an alligator clip on one end and a very pointy screwdriver with a light bulb in it on the other end. And if you probe the wrong wire with a test light like that, you can do damage to your electrical system in ways that you would never imagine, including if you probe a airbag circuit wire, you can actually pop those airbags, and they would deploy in that way. So keeping an eye out for airbag circuits, they are always, always, always wrapped in a yellow loom. Those are airbag circuits. Now, that doesn't include a fuse for the airbag circuit. Generally, those are labeled, so you be safe there. But in any case, make sure if you're doing some electrical troubleshooting, that you use a logic probe. These are airbag safe test lights that enables you to probe wires at will without worrying about backfeeding voltage into the circuit and potentially tripping or deploying an airbag.
Ruin your day really quick.
Yeah,
and it's expensive. Even if it misses you, it's going to be really expensive to replace. And probably a little less safe not replacing it, not having one in. You know, I was surprised, at least down here in Texas, airbags aren't required. If I wanted to change my steering wheel out to one of them old style fancy type custom steering wheels like we used to do back when I was a kid, I could do that.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's all over or what.
Yeah, I don't know what the laws are up here about that. I mean, I see guys with older Cherokees that were pre-airbag that, of course, have like a Grant steering wheel or something like that. But yeah, nonetheless, I don't know about that. In any case, I wouldn't want to pop an airbag because not only are they expensive to replace, but it's going to mean that you're going to have to change your shorts too.
Yes. Well, good luck with testing that. I hope you have something for us next show to tell us what it was. And
makes two of us.
Hopefully, it'll be something simple, and you can say the classic line, "Why is it always the last thing you check?"
Yeah, right.
And the answer is because it fixed it. Damn it! I didn't have to look any further. Well, let's see. I still have that tick. I tried, and I'm not talking personal. I mean the lifter ticking in my 24,000 mile engine, and it's kind of sad. I did I put the ATF in there, ran it about 100 miles, and did the oil change, and got a little better. Gets a little worse. Gets a little better. I do not know what the process is. I'm sure it's easy to look up. I do not know what the process is of checking the gap. I guess it's called the backspace or the lash of the valves. You know how the rocker arm moves up and down, and you can put a feeler gauge in there and tell what the distance is between the push rod and the rocker arm. But Matt Smorenberg was telling me that I could actually shim that little tick out of there. So I, as of right now, of course it's not Saturday. Saturday I tend to get really lazy, but as of right now, I'm thinking I might pop the valve cover and first look up the process of checking the gap between the rocker arm and the push rod. And I'm sure it has to do with the engine position, because with where the cam is and how it's pushing the push rod up, and I'm sure I need to get it where it's at the very bottom of the lobe, because that would be the lowest point for the push rod, and then I'll be able to check and see if the rocker arm has any play in it. And if it does, I should be able to, since I have a crane cam in my 4.0, which may be the problem with this tick thing anyway, we had to shim each of the rocker arms. It's something you have to do whenever you do a higher lift cam like that. So there may be a shim that needs to be taken out.
Oh, well, now that you're, I guess, would be considered well past the break-in period for that engine, maybe there is some stuff that you have to go back in and undo or redo or adjust, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. So, and Matt did all that stuff, one day when I wasn't there, whenever he was rebuilding the engine. He did all that lash settings and did it under to the specifications that needed to be set at. So I never experienced it firsthand. So now I need to go back and see how to do it myself. And of course, I can always call Matt and say, "Hey, I'm seeing this. Why am I seeing this?" And he can verify what I'm doing, and get me on the right direction. So I'm hopeful that will happen. That'll happen this weekend and this long weekend, and hopefully that'll take care of any little tick. The horsepower, the gas mileage, everything else seems to be fine. I just don't like hearing that little annoying tick, and it just makes me feel like the engine's not at its prime running capacity. Horsepower and gas mileage say otherwise, but still, this is how you feel. So if that doesn't work, then I guess I may try some of that. What is it, Marvel Mystery Oil, or some Seafoam?
Yeah, Slick 50, Seafoam, Marvel Mystery Oil, Engine Honey. All those sorts of things. I would caution you on some of that stuff, though, Tony. Do your research on it a little bit, because some of that stuff can gunk up some of the smaller oil passages, and you end up doing more harm than good. So just be very careful about what sort of additives you end up putting into your engine. I will say this, that my grandfather, myself, I've sworn by the Slick 50 brand of additives. It is good stuff, and as we all know, Marvel Mystery Oil also has been around for a very, very long time. But a little birdie told me one time that stuff is basically just transmission fluid.
Yeah, that's kind of, I was reading, not reading, I was watching some YouTube videos, and it was funny because they were doing like reviews on some sort of product to get rid of noisy engines. And the guy would open it up, and he goes, he'd be pouring it in, he goes, "Yeah, it kind of looks and smells like transmission fluid." And if that's the case, I've already done that. So, and also too, it seems like a lot of the stuff I've been reading and seeing on YouTube has to do with very high mileage engines, and there's some gunk buildup, and something basically has blocked the passage either partially or completely in the hydraulic lifter, and it's not pumping up all the way. So I'm a little concerned that my low mileage engine is having this issue, and any additive that I might put in there is not going to do anything, since it probably isn't gunk in the engine. I'm afraid that it might be even the teeth that are on the bottom of the distributor, and perhaps there's been some metal shavings happening from the interface between the cam and the distributor. So maybe this isn't gunk that's in there. Maybe this is actual metal, and that's what's keeping it from pumping up. Now, I didn't notice anything when I changed the oil, so no pistons or anything fell out. If I was going to do it the right way, I probably would pull the oil pan off and then do a complete visual inspection. And I was thinking today, I was just sitting there kind of mulling over in my head. Now, if I took the rocker arms off and took the oil pan off, I could pull the push rods out, and I bet you I could get those lifters out from the bottom.
That's kind of a roundabout way to go.
Well, not taking the head and the intake and the exhaust and all those things you got to take off just to get the head off, and then you have to replace the head gasket, and those bolts you can use twice. And I'd have to check with Matt, but I'm almost certain that those are a brand new set of head bolts we put on there. So I could, take that off, take that head off, and reuse those bolts again.
Well, at least you got that going for you. It sounds like a fairly lengthy project, Tony. I would expect that that's not exactly something you could probably knock out in a day without really, a lift, air tools, maybe a couple extra hands, and getting up early and cracking.
Well, you never know what you're going to find. And as I was listening to the podcast where you were taking out the little bitty old, what's that bushing and the leaf spring? Gosh, that's like a 30-minute job, a 2-hour job maybe. And it took you 5, and that's what really worries me, because you get the head off, and you look down in there, and then you don't know what you're going to find. For me to actually do this job in a quick way, I really need a whole new set of lifters that have been soaking in oil, and I need a new cam, because the cam could be the problem. It could have flattened out.
I was going to say only if you had a lobe that kind of flattened out, or there's some scoring or something like that. Geez, that sucked, because basically you gotta pull the radiator or pull the engine to get that out. So
well, if you remember, whenever we first put this engine together, they sent us the wrong crane, sent us the wrong lifters, or bad lifters, because those lifters were different sizes.
Yeah, I was going to say you had some different sizes in there, didn't you? Yeah.
Right. So it messed up the cam. And I sent all the lifters back, and I sent the cam back, but that also meant I had a replacement cam and another set of lifters, and they weren't crane lifters this time. I learned my lesson, and but Matt was able to remove the cam out of the engine with it still installed by removing. I don't know if he removed one of the what do you call those plastic inserts for the grill? Either removed the header altogether, the header panel altogether, or removed one of those inserts, and he said it slid right out. So I know I don't have to do that. I would not have to lift the engine up out to get the cam out. But oh my God, you might as well just put a new engine in there. At some point, I think it's easier just to rebuild the original engine is sitting in Matt's shop. All I have to do is get him to take it to the machine shop and put some pistons in it, and I don't know at what point is it when you just swap engines. I mean, make it like a racing crew deal.
Yeah, a 4.6 liter stroker, port and polish the heads. I'd say you're well on your way, and you've got 3 days to do it. Ready, go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. No matter how much planning you do, no matter how much new things that you buy, no matter all the steps that you go through, I guess it would be different if you did it all the time, but my plan was 1 day engine swap. And the 1 day engine swap turned into be about 16 hours. And even at that, I had to leave it there.
Yeah.
And I think it was there for like 2 weeks while Matt worked on it. So it did not go the way it was supposed to go.
Yeah, I've kind of threatened this online earlier this week. If I can't get this fixed out, I'm going to say that's it. The Jeep's getting parked for the rest of the year, probably through the entire winter. And I'm just going to do a V8 swap or something like that. Screw it.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I went through all this trouble of building this $2,000+ engine, and now I've got this ticking noise. And maybe I'm overreacting to this, but because it's a very common thing with 4.0s, but it just bugs the hell out of me. Hell, man, I forget what the iron versions of the LS1 is. Maybe it's time for me just to put an LS1 in there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, or even doing a 5.9 liter Hemi or something like that. I think that would be pretty.
I love V8s. My little foot, my little right foot, just loves the V8s.
Yeah. that's I'll start breaking stuff like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, but having the horsepower is so much better than not. I mean, and I'm trying to beef up this 4.0 60 over and the crane cam, and then you get the problems of the springs. It's a lot like raising lifting it up and putting bigger tires and all the other things that goes along with having to make the changes so things work right, because you're getting out of the engineering specs. And I'm just almost ready just to say, screw it. Let me just put drop in a crate engine in there and get an adapter plate and maybe a 6-speed Muncie if they make those sort of things, and just go nuts, man. But anyway, that's a lot of money, and let me see if I can just shim out that tick before I do the rest of that stuff.
Well, speaking of going nuts, we've got Steve 4.3 LXJ that's going to talk about what you could do to go nuts on a YJ.
Yeah, and actually this is one of those Wrangler segments, all things Wrangler, that we haven't had in a while. And in fact, I'll mention this if Steve certainly is stepping up and giving us a Wrangler segment for tonight. But if you know Wranglers and you would like to be a part of the podcast, please contact us. What is it, Josh? Info, interviews, pretty much anything you like. Let's go with interviews. Interviews at
xjtalkshow.com.
Yeah, at xjtalkshow.com. But contact us, and it's really simple. You just record it, and then you send it up to our Dropbox. We edit it and throw it onto the show. So it works out really, really a lot easier than what you probably think. So anyway, Let's get over here to Steve. Lifting a YJ. This is part 1 of 2.
On this section of Jeep Tips, I'd like to address lifting a YJ. There are several of our members that have them, and they're quite a bit different from the Cherokees, Grand Cherokees that we normally deal with here on XJ Talk, but it's worth talking about, and one of the issues I want to address is lifting them. So this will be the first of a two-part series on lifting a YJ. YJ is kind of a little bit different animal than what we're used to nowadays. Back in the day when Rambler, or American Voters if you prefer, bought the Jeep brand from Kaiser, they manufactured CJs and eventually improved them. They put V8s in them and the 4.2-liter straight six, which eventually became the 4.0 that we're all very familiar with in our Cherokees and Grand Cherokees. But they had made some attempts to improve them. And one of the first attempts on the CJ was the CJ 5 and 7 that they started to produce in 1976. And went through 86 or 87, I can't remember. But anyway, it was produced for about 10 years. They upgraded the transfer case, and they tried to upgrade the suspension. And in doing so, they went from the venerable and tried and true tested, very common 1 3/4-inch wide leaf springs to a 2.5-inch wide leaf spring in the back and a 2-inch in the front. And then they also gave a hardtop option available from the factory, and this was kind of a cool thing in cold weather. It actually allowed you to retain some heat in these things when they were driving around in the snow. But to be honest with you, the suspensions were just horrible. And if you had the hardtop and the heavy-duty, quote-unquote, computer-engineered design suspension, they would just roll around like a round-bottom boat on the ocean, and they just cornered terribly. And there was a lot of criticism of that, and I think rightly so. The attempt was to make them ride better than the CJs normally did, but in doing so, they just ended up with a vehicle that was just really lousy on the road. So when the next generation came around, the YJ, they went to a 2.5-inch spring in the front and retained a 2.5-inch in the rear, and they really kind of lowered the center of gravity a lot. And in doing so, they made a Jeep that cornered well, and it was a decent off-road rig. It wasn't very high off the ground as we measure things today. And there was an addition that allowed these YJs to corner better, and that is a front panhard bar. It's sometimes referred to as a track bar, but it's really a panhard bar, and the distinction is kind of fine, I realize, but, well, that's life. So when we start lifting these YJs, it behooves us to pay attention to this, because one of the things that this panhard bar was supposed to do, in addition to kind of stiffening up the front end, sometimes it's actually called a sway bar, which I'm not sure we can really call it that, but sometimes it's called a sway bar. It kept the YJ from having bump steer. And if any of us have been around long enough and had a lifted CJ or lifted military Jeep, one of the things that we all had to live with when we did that was bump steer. And that is particularly true if you had a tie rod conversion, and all of us did, because the Pitman arm, the terms escape me. But anyway, they had a two-piece tie rod on the front. It was really junk, and you'd really get a lot of death wobble out of the thing. And the first thing to go was that, because it was just junk, and it didn't allow you to lift your rig very much. So we all lived with it. Every time you went down the freeway in your Jeep and you hit the bridge going in, you took a dive to the right. Then you got it straightened back out, you got across the bridge, and you hit another little bump, and you took another dive to the right. And it was just something that we expected, and we all lived with it. And the panhard bar took care of this by making the front axle stay stationary relative to the position of the tie rod, the drag link. So when we lift our YJs, if we want to keep that factory nice, positive, straight steering, this is something we have to address. Now, there's several ways that you can have mild lifts on a YJ, and the first and most common is the extended shackle that goes on the front and back. And you can get anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inch lift, depending on the length that you use. It's a heavy-duty shackle. They're very common. I don't think I've seen a YJ lately that didn't have one of these. The factory shackles weren't too much to write home about, which is typical of Jeep's history. So these were a nice upgrade, gave you a little bit of lift. The only thing you had to watch about them was that the shackle did hang down from the bumper, and if you got any of them too long, you would end up hitting things. I have a friend that has a YJ that had really long shackles, and he put a body lift on and so forth, put some 39.5 inch swappers on, took off up to Fordyce, and ended up banging one of these shackles on a rock shelf, and it bent the front leaf spring back, ruined the spring, and it also took out his transfer case when the drive shaft bottomed out. So bottom line here is that you can put these shackles on, and it's okay, but you got to watch how far they hang down, and you also have to be aware of the fact that they're out there, and you don't want to be hitting anything too hard with them. The next thing that you can do to them is to get a higher arch leaf spring, and you can go up to about 4 inches of lift this way. And when you do, having that high arch spring on there, the drag link gets down at an angle and has to be lengthened in order to center the steering wheel. And in doing so, the drag link being at an angle, when you hit a bump, it becomes horizontal, and the knuckle then goes to the right relative to the rest of the Jeep. And so this is what causes the bump steer. And in order to get rid of that, there is a product on the market that I think is a really cool idea. It's not very popular, but I think it's great. And it's an adjustable hand-hard bar, or an adjustable sway bar if you prefer, for the YJ, and it's put out by JKS. They're the only ones I know that make them. It telescopes, and when you want to hit the trail, you just loosen up a bolt, and the thing slides in and out. It's greased. It's got a nice boot on it. Costs about $245, and it's really a great addition, I think, to a Jeep that has less than 6 inches of lift. So when you go to get these higher arch springs, if you want to keep your highway drivability, this is a great addition. And these higher arch springs, they come in different lifts. You can get 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and that's about the limit that you can go on these, because after that you get something that's too stiff and unworkable. And it's a nice upgrade. You can do the installation of these springs. If you're have some jack stands and a floor jack and an impact, you can change these out in about 4 hours if you want. Not hard to do, and it makes a nice upgrade. You don't have to really change anything around, and that makes it nice. And 4 inches is a nice little bit of lift. You can run some 33-inch tires, and if you want to do some bump stopping, you can put some 35s on, and you'd be a little bit limited on your articulation, but it's doable, and it makes your YJ a nice looking rig, and certainly makes it more functional off-road. Next time, I'm going to come back and talk about some other upgrades that you do that require a little bit more than just bolt-on goodies for lifting it.
Boy, I tell you what, listening to that leaf spring stuff on the front reminded me of my '83 Chevrolet pickup, short wheelbase Chevrolet pickup, 4-wheel drive, and I think I paid like $170 for a 4-inch lift. It was blocks on the back and new leaf springs for the front, and it was a very simple lift.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised what like a shackle relocation bracket and a shackle reversal kit rather. I'm sorry, and some lift shackles will do to a YJ as far as improving its stance. I mean, I've worked on several YJs over the years, and really, it's very simple, very very simple suspension to work on.
Yeah, as long as you can find one that's in decent shape and hasn't been highly modified, you can you generally pick those things up. Certainly not Cherokee prices, but in compared to other Wrangler prices, they're a lot better. And who doesn't like square headlights on a Wrangler? So anyway, I think that's about all we have time for tonight, kiddies.
Yep, that's going to wrap up the show, guys. Remember, any one of you guys who've got a wheeling experience you'd like to share, maybe something you've done to your Jeep recently, or heck, maybe you've got one heck of a Jeep story to share with us, why not? Give us a call, let us know about it. We'll set up an interview and get you guys on the show. Everybody's got a Jeep story to tell, including you. If you got a show and shine, an off-road event, or any other Jeep-related event for that matter you'd like to share or spread the word about, give us a call or email us at the same place you would for a Jeep news story at newstips@xjtalkshow.com.
Yes. Oh, well, don't forget about following us on Facebook. Or is it friend? I'm sorry, friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. What?
I was going to say, speaking of Facebook, everybody's been hounding me about my shirt, so I figure I'm going to stand up and show everybody the shirt. That's the shirt that everybody's been screaming about. I got it through Teespring, and yeah, it's been getting quite a buzz about it. Everybody's jealous about the shirt and throwing money at the computer screen and wondering where I got it. And there's been some trademark issues going on with it. So, guys, this was a limited print. You're probably not likely to see this shirt ever again.
So that reminds me, Steph, or Stevie as her mom calls her, show listener and past interviewee, made a comment on your post about that shirt. She says there's two things on there that I really like, and I looked and I couldn't figure out. It's like, okay, Cherokee is a given. It must be Unibody.
No.
I don't know.
Obviously, the trademark aspect of it is it's in the shape and kind of font and everything of a Jack Daniel's bottle. So yeah, I saw this. I had to get it. I really should have gotten two.
Yeah, really popular post too. Were they all black or did they have other colors?
No, it was no choice in color. It was all black, just like the Jack Daniel's label. So. But yeah, like Tony said, guys, over at Facebook, a lot of stuff's happening. I posted up some goofy pics today, so head over to Facebook, like us, friend us, whatever it takes, and you guys can join in on the fun.
Yeah, and if you pay an extra $5, you can see the off-color things he did with that throttle body.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Hey, and let me remind you guys to do the reviews. iTunes, Stitcher. We've got 2 reviews at Stitcher. I know there's not as many people listen to on Stitcher, but go over to Stitcher and leave us a review.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here tonight, and you guys have a great Jeep week.
We'll see you next time.
You know, I think we kept that all in one file this time. I think it was just a little over an hour, like an hour and a minute. I think at 102 is when it creates a new file.
Wow, amazing! It felt like we went a lot longer.
Well, you know, whenever you jumped in there and said, speaking of donkeys, which was like, it was somewhat of a segue, but it was a bit of a reach. That's why I say he's talking about donkeys. I forget what you said. He's like, oh, crap, I was talking too long. I did a Josh. Yeah, I get that way too. So, did you freeze? You froze. Oh, you disconnected. Yeah, let me wait for you to reconnect.
I don't what the heck happened right there, but hey, at least it waited until literally 30 seconds after the end of the show before it
Exactly.
it decided to crap out on me. There we go.
Did you notice that it came up with a little message? I saw a message, and it was funny because it did not display on your image, but I saw it in the Skype window, basically saying there was a connection issue. But you were moving and you were talking and everything was fine. So I figured it was just getting a little upset with the bandwidth at that moment, but it didn't drop.
The signal strength meter goes red, and we're having a problem with the call. We're trying to get the call back. There's a connection.
It's like a black thing with a red border around it.
That
was up on my screen, and I looked at that. And I looked at the feed that we're putting out, and I didn't see it on the feed, which is really strange because I'm just doing a screen capture. Anywho.
Did we have it? Because every time I popped over to the YouTube channel, I kept seeing just the XJ Talk Show placeholder image. So I'm wondering if we actually weren't streaming tonight, but that could be just me. I mean, now it could be just that my YouTube channel was frozen up.
I see you moving and talking. I just hit the little play thing.
Oh yeah, no, there it is. Yep, it was just frozen on my side.
I was really surprised we didn't have any more comments in there. Did you see? Did you see? Jim said he actually was chatting with them on Amazon, and that's what told. I said I would disconnect and talk to somebody else, Jim. I think that's ridiculous. Or as the Amazon help people might say, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Because they're not in this country. That's the joke.
I've got a script to write. Dang it.
So I think we're going to wrap this post show up really quick. Josh and I have some bigness to talk about, some show bigness. Nothing drug related or anything like that. Just some background stuff that we want to keep a secret and make it a surprise when it happens. And you guys will squeal with delight, I'm sure. So I will wrap it up and say good night. Thank you for coming to our live show. Don't forget to tell your friends. Don't forget to click on anything that we have that is advertisement related on our site or on xjtalk.com because it helps us keep things going and keeps the lights on and keeps the bottles washed, and we don't have to get the 2% milk. We can get the whole milk. So that really helps us here at XJ Talk Show and xjtalk.com. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night. And I just realized I'm not on the camera. It's just you. And you got your forehead right at the camera.
Big old forehead right there in the camera as I'm leaning in to see the keyboard because I can't type without looking. That's how it goes, guys.
I like looking at the keyboard. It's just kind of a confidence builder, I think. But yeah, I actually took, my mom wanted me taking typing in high school. And that was with the actual, keys with the little arms and the click. I think it was IBM Selectric that we were using there in class. And it was me, my best friend, one other guy that didn't really qualify, really 100% guy, and all women or girls at that point. So it wasn't too bad a deal. It was just like a room full of girls typing on typewriters. Anyway.
All right, guys. Yeah, like Tony said, thank you very much for joining us for the live show. And really think about putting together a little viewing party or something like that, or listening party. You guys have got to join in on the pre-show fun and the post-show fun. Of course, the live show is a lot more interesting than the podcast. Even though the podcast is cool, the live show, you get to see us and interact with us live during the show. So think about seeing us every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central on our YouTube channel, YouTube/user/xjtalk or xjtalk. Yeah, there it is. Always posting up some good stuff, and make sure you guys are over on our Facebook page quite frequently. We're having a lot of fun over there as well.
All right, I'm done. Should I say red Jeeps are sexy?
Hey, that'd be good.
All right. Should I just do that by itself?
No, do that with it in the middle.
Okay. My name's fucking Audrey, kid, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.